I do or for what you're helping me be part of?
I have not.
Okay. Did you start yet or no? Okay.
But I'm good, so whenever you like.
Well, so what it is I interview people in the entertainment industry, actors, models, musicians, and each interview, like the one you're doing, raises $100 towards ending child hunger, which is also 1,000 meals. So just by giving me a little bit of time, you were helping raise 1,000 meals for hungry kids in the U.S.
Thank you.
That's as simple as that.
Well, you just ask the questions, and I'll do my best.
Sure.
Okay?
You guys have been performing for years, many years. I grew up with you guys, and you've toured all over. You know, and all the kids and all the people that you've seen. When you think of hunger, you know, I was trying to help. What do you think of when that word comes to you? You know, all the places you've gone.
Yeah, we grew up in a very small country community in Kentucky. And my dad was actually a school teacher for 39 years, and he was very receptive of children who were needy. And so we were taught that lesson at home too. And we're able to learn communication with kids who needed other things, clothing, food. And growing up in a poor community, it was very important to be that receptive. So I feel like that you know, I remember going to school and seeing kids, and I don't know if they still do this, but it was called free lunch in the day. I'm sure
they have something kind of like that.
Something like that. But I remember lunch was 30 cents back in those days, and there were a lot of kids that my dad was responsible for making sure and overseeing that they got that opportunity. And so it kind of overspilled into our lifestyle and that sort of thing. But you know, it's great what you guys are doing. It's also, you know, it's a lot of people who, you know, we sit down at the dinner table, we don't really think, you know, not really. We don't think that, okay, so here we go, we're gonna, you know, have hamburgers and fries or whatever. And it's hard to believe, but there are actually people in our country today that don't have enough nutrition. It's unbelievable, you know, and we do so many things to help people elsewhere in other places, and I'm not knocking that. That's great, but it's like, you know, sometimes shift the focus to America, because there really are kids, and it's not necessarily the fault of our government or anything like that. It's really a lot of parental guidance, people who are not capable of getting the funds to get food.
Yeah.
And also, you know, a lot of people, excuse my language, but they're just sorry, and they don't really feed their kids. I mean, I'm not knocking fast food restaurants, but a lot of people who have the change to go buy food and do it properly and fix it, they'll give them fast food before they'll food it.
I think it's really ridiculous that it's cheaper to go to McDonald's or somewhere on the dollar menu and buy food off the dollar menu.
Well, I didn't use that word, but that,
yeah, rather than taking your money and being educated to go buy food from the grocery store, the fact that a pack of chicken in the grocery store costs more than KFC, there's something not right with that.
Well,
and it's a convenience thing.
You know what? It's part of it's our society. It's unfortunate, but a lot of working people have to work really hard. And, you know, we've been fortunate enough to be musicians and we grow up on a big farm and always have plenty to eat. And we've had that luxury. But not all people have that. And a lot of people, most of mid-America, they work 9 to 5. They get home, they're exhausted. And it's kind of been an escalating thing in our society for years to where, let me just go buy the fast food.
I'm so tired. I know you want to cook tonight. Let's just go.
Well, you know, I get it. Because, you know, night before last was my brother's birthday, and I said, okay, I'm going to cook supper for my brother. And I was exhausted when I finished. And so I've been off all day. I really had. We weren't on the road or anything like that. So, you know, I know that, and then I admire the American man, or the man who has it. Because, you know, you got young children, and you got to feed them, you got to clothe them, you got to bathe them, you got diapers to change, all this stuff. And you know, there's two sides to look at this. there's only so much energy in a human being to do that sort of thing. And so I feel like there's a two-sided coin here. A lot of times we don't neglect it on purpose. We just get everybody's worn out. So there's that side of the coin. And then there are people who actually do not even, imagine not even having the food or the money to buy the food.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're really here about.
Yeah.
And then you got these children that are not being nursed properly, and the parents are worried about where it's coming from. It's been like that since the beginning of time, obviously. But hopefully in our society, you know, with guys like you working with things like this, it will help to alleviate some of that problem.
We're trying. Our big thing is to make sure that the kids don't go hungry in the summer because, you know, we've seen kids in school in May, before school gets out, who started hoarding those free breakfasts they get in school in their desks. And how do you tell a little kid that that banana is not going to last until June? When
Is that
gets
right?
out? Yes. Because they go into fight or flight mode. You know, once school's out, because they have breakfast and lunch provided through the free.
Sure.
So then they have dinner. Well, once school's out, where are they going to get breakfast and lunch from? So they start hoarding food to save up for when they get out. So
I did not know that.
here in Brainerd, there's a program that feeds kids lunch over the summer. There's sack lunches, and volunteers actually make the lunches. They pack them up and they deliver them to the playgrounds. And there's kids waiting. These kids are waiting for you to get there because a lot of them haven't eaten all morning until you get there to bring them that lunch. So our big thing with Don't Get Hungry is making sure that kids don't go hungry over the summer or the long Christmas breaks or Thanksgiving break when they have a week off from school. So
Right.
that's kind of where we're.
You know, wow, I didn't realize it was that deep. I sure did.
See, and that's what a lot of people don't until we sit down and do interviews with them. There's kids, I've talked to teachers who say, I have to tell that kid why that apple has to be thrown out, why their desk smells so bad, because they're putting food in there to save it to bring home.
Wow.
So that they'll have food.
Or for their siblings.
Their siblings, or, yep, they'll come up to the park to get that sack lunch and they'll say, can I take one for my brother? You know, and we'll give them one. We never deny them that, but you'll have them coming up, you know. So.
Well, you know, it's great what you guys are doing. But it's just like, just think, I mean, you're trying to service your area here, but there are people everywhere. So sad. And, you know, something that always bothered me personally is people who, and even our guys who out here come on the bus, I'm starving. You've never been hungry in your life.
Tell the, yeah, my kids, I'm so hungry. You're not hungry. You're not starving.
You're not starving.
No, you're not.
You're not hungry.
But there are kids who are that'll go the whole weekend. They'll leave on Friday and they'll have their lunch in school, and they might not get anything until they come back on Monday. So those kids actually look forward to coming back to school, but not for the education purpose. They look forward to coming back to school on Monday so that they can eat. So some kids will go the entire weekend.
Well, let me ask you this. What is the situation with their family at large that happens? What do you think is the gist of it?
You know, I'm not really sure because it isn't what it used to be when it was the stigma of somebody on assistance. Well, they're on welfare. It isn't that. It's people who have $500,000 houses, big houses, you know, in suburbs that you would assume that they're not going to have food insecurity, and parents are working 2 jobs and they're still with a mortgage and a car payment and this and that. You know, groceries sometimes.
You mean it's more that
it's more
middle class
suburbs.
American?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
It's more that than it is those who are on. I mean, there's still the demographic of those who are on assistance and get food stamps or get help, but a lot of it is from the ones who are caught in the middle. We make too much, so we can't get help. You know, but we don't have enough to get groceries, and we have to sacrifice. Are we going to get groceries, or are we going to pay our electric bill? Are we going to do this, or are we going to get food? And it's those ones that are caught in the middle that have the biggest food insecurities.
You know, and our society has a damaging effect where we all think that we have to continue to compete with each other.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Yes.
And we all want to do better, and we all want to be visibly successful. Unfortunately, we neglect the things that are most important. You know, it's like Mom and Pa kill. Their kids are with hungry.
No. I feed kids out of my home. There's all the neighbor kids know where I live, and I always keep leftovers or crock pot ready for, my daughter will bring home friends, and she's like, Mom, we don't have you know, they're at their house and I'm like, well, here, let's take this Walmart bag, you know, plastic bag, and fill it up, and she'll go bring them some food, or you know, the kids will come over because they know that I always have food, and I never deny a kid.
No,
you know?
it's quite unfortunate, but where this all breeds from is class. And it's unfortunate, but in our society, how do I say this? People say, oh, they're low class or they're high class. They ain't got nothing to do with money, honey. It's all about a high class poor person is much better than a low class rich man.
Yes. Right? Integrity, and you know, and I think that's a big part. You don't have to have money to be rich. And I told my kids that you don't have to have money.
You know what? Class is about people who take care of people and who do the right thing and that sort of thing. And it's unfortunate, but we live in a society where everybody feels that they have to live on the block where the biggest houses are. You know, and I was taught differently than that, you know. You can't. You know what? Is it more important to feed your children
than it is to have the latest
TV?
I grew up on a little farm here, so I'm the same way with you. Where I grew up on a farm, and we didn't have fancy things. It was, you know,
normal things.
Normal. The food we grew was for us.
Needy things.
Yes.
You know, and everybody got by, and you know when it came time for you couldn't wear your shoes, and the guy down below you got them.
Hand-me-downs.
Yeah, hand-me-downs.
Oh, we did hand-me-downs.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing embarrassing or derogatory about sharing and being cool, you know. And unfortunately, our society is bred into a lot of people thinking that they have to be, as you said, keeping up with the Joneses.
You know, and the song that reminds me of that is Dolly Parton's "Coat of Many Colors."
Sure.
Right? That just reminds me of the whole. She was so proud of it, but yet she was. Nope. It just brings back.
Sure.
You know.
And but anyway, thank you for interviewing me about this.
Yes.
I enjoyed it, and it kind of opened my eyes because I really didn't realize that we had that sort of extensive situation in our country, not just with extremely poor people, but even the middle class people are suffering from it, trying to be middle class, to be upper class, or whatever, you know. I had no idea.
Yeah. And that's where it's the most right now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm signing off. It's Richard Young with Kentucky Headhunters. Feed some kids.
It's Monica,
okay?
don't get hungry, so.
All right.
All right, thanks.
And don't get too big for your britches when you can't take care of